Thanks, Melon. I will now call the meeting to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. This morning, on the panel on my far left is Mr. Whitbread, on my direct left is Mr. Diamond, and I'm Mr. Hutchings. I'll be chairing the hearing this morning. Representing the Assessment and Taxation Department is Mr. Colatriglio, and our secretary today will be Ms. Rojo. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by this Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with this Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by cross-examination by the appellant and the panel members next, and then the appellant's testimony followed by cross-examination by the assessor and then the panel again. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decision based on evidence presented here today. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. And please, can everybody make sure that their cell phones are on silent before we proceed? Ellen, could you swear in the appellant, please, and the assessor?
Do you swear in or do you affirm?
I'll swear.
Please state your full name.
Mark Colatriglio?
And you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your full name. And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you, Belen. Good morning, both parties. First property on the docket is 555 Sargent Avenue. It's my understanding that we're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment. And Mr. Colatriglio, there's a recommendation on the property, I understand. Would you mind going through providing the details for the record of the property and a quick summary of why the recommendation was made?
Sure. Roll number 1305-0634-000, 555 Sargent. Current values under appeal, $78,000 for the class code 10 and $255,000 for the class code 60. It's a commercial mixed-use property. It's got some retail space on the main and second floor and some residential space on the third floor. The recommendation that I'm presenting today is based on an increase to the cap rate, and the decision was made through discussions with the agent, considering the overall size and age of the building. So I have some recommendation here. The breakdown on value for the recommendation for class code 10, $78,000 remains unchanged. The change occurs on the class code 60, where I'm proposing a reduced value of $227 from $255.
Okay.
The details are shown on this workup. Copies for you. So it's a double-sided page. On the back side, the retail side, you see the total market value at the bottom, 305. And the primary change on the retail side is, like I said, the cap rate being increased. The original cap rate was 8.25%, and the revised cap rate is 9.25.
Okay. Mr. Neufeld, you were aware of that recommendation? And
No comments or problems.
You're in agreement?
We're in agreement.
Okay. Okay. Richard, any questions of the assessor?
No.
Harvey?
Yeah, Mr. Kelachuklio, you've got a 9.25% cap rate, which is higher than we've seen the city, pretty well any other application come forward with. So why was it arrived at that?
So the overall building area of this property, because the property is a split classification, there is a range of cap rates that would be acceptable for a retail property if this property was strictly retail.
Right?
So considering the leasable area for both components of the property, the 9.25 falls within the modeled range that we would see for the cap rates. It's on the higher side, absolutely, but it still falls within the range of what we would see for a retail property of this size.
So you basically, what you did was in your mind, separate the two properties and as if they were two distinct properties, which I guess for classification purposes they are.
Correct.
And, but valued in that manner.
Correct, yeah, the cap
Okay.
rate decision is made on that basis, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mark, could you tell us where the location of this property?
Yes, absolutely. So if you flip to page 7, there is an aerial photo that kind of shows you the location. It's about midway in the block on Sargent between Furby and McMicken Street.
Okay.
And the lower picture there is the Google Street View.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Everybody good? All right. So just to confirm, we're leaving class code 10 at 78,000. Class code 60 has been revised to 227,000 for a total of $305,000
That is correct.
as a result of adjusting the cap rate. Okay, good. Thank you. Leave it with us, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
That concludes 555 Sargent Avenue. Okay. Mr. Paul, back up again.
Thank you.
Okay, 1032A St. Mary's Road is our next property.
I think my whole argument went down the drain when you said that you can't use comparisons.
You have the option to swear on the Bible or to affirm without it.
I'll swear to you.
Please state your full name.
Harry G. Paul,
And you swear the evidence you represent is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
as best I know.
Thank you. Do you have any evidence for the panel?
Evidence, no, I believe, yeah, I just made up that sheet there.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
you did provide it earlier, sorry.
Yeah, basically,
Okay, we're good. Good morning, Mr. Paul.
Morning.
Okay, so we're dealing with item number 5 on the docket, 1032A St. Mary's Road. And we're gonna let the assessor go first, Mr. Paul, so. And we're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment. Mark, when you're ready, please.
Correct. Yeah, this property is 1032 St. Mary's Road, roll number 0800-367-3600. This is another commercial multi-use property with 2 classifications. The class code 60 value under appeal is 195,000, and the class code 10 value that's under appeal is 117,000. Total assessed value of 312,000. This is a property located, if you can look on page 7, on the corner of St. Mary's Road and Hastings Boulevard. The main floor is a retail unit, and the upper level is a residential unit, two-bedroom residential. Building is originally built in 1988, and it's 2 stories. Gross floor area, 2,132 square feet, and we have 1,134 square feet of leasable area on the main floor. If you flip to the 3rd page, I've provided some rent comparables for the similar type of retail space located on the main floor. There is a range here in the net rents per square foot. The range is from $12 all the way up to $16.20. If you flip to page 4, the income summary for the retail stream, we have 1,050 square feet at $13.63. That falls within the range of the rental comparables that are provided on the previous page. There's also a small storage area that's included, 84 square feet at $9.49. The potential rent here, gross potential rent, is $15,109. We've applied a 6% vacancy rate, as well as 2% non-recoverable expenses for an NOI of $13,476. The cap rate applied here is 6.9%. For a total capitalized and rounded value at $195,000. On page 5, you'll see the income summary for the apartment portion of the building. Again, it's 1 2-bedroom suite on the upper level. The current monthly rent that we apply to the space is $826.44 for a total gross potential rent of $9,917. On this portion, we've applied a 2.6% vacancy rate. The expense ratio that is applied is 46.52% for a total NOI of $5,166. The cap rate applied here is 4.40 for a total of $117,000. Page 6, you'll see the total income valuation summary that shows the full breakdown on the value for each component and the overall market value, which is $312,000. Page 7, you'll see some photos of the subject property. The top photo being an aerial view that shows the location and the intersection that the property sits on, and the bottom photo being the Google Street View of the front of the property. I did have a chance to inspect this property, not for the purposes of this hearing. I actually did some business assessment work for the dental laboratory that's in the main floor, so I did have a chance to see the retail space. I did not inspect the residential area, and it's my understanding that Mr. Paul lives there. Included on page 8 is some of the support that shows the ranges that we typically find within our model for cap rates. Page 9 is some excerpts from the Municipal Assessment Act, and attached to the back is the 2017 income and expense mailer that was submitted by the owner for the property for 2017, the year, the full reference year prior to the reference date of April 1st of 2018. So, as you can see on the tenant verification form, my apologies that the mailer is not numbered, but you can see that they do have the main floor rented out to a dental laboratory. I believe they make some dentures and stuff in there. And the monthly rent is $17.20, and it's a semi-gross rent. That's all for my presentation.
Thank you, Mark. Mr. Paul, any questions on the evidence presented by the assessor?
Well, I just noticed that most of the comparables are in St. Boniface, but, you know, Obviously, I haven't done this for a long time, and I went about it a little bit wrong. I went for the the increased comparison, so I went to the commercial buildings right around me and the residential's right behind me.
Yeah.
And as it states in my paper there, they're much lower than the 27-28% that I received as an overall increase, like they're running.
We'll get to your evidence right away, but any questions? I think
Just
you're
one,
right. Yeah.
the three, number of buildings, two, I have an 8, I think 8 or 10 by, maybe that was the 84 square foot shed in the back that I keep the lawnmower and stuff in. Is that considered a building? Is that where you get the two buildings and then the three premises, like obviously nobody's living there or using?
Correct, yeah.
So that would, normally I would say one building and two premises.
Yeah, I would, I'd have to review our files, I don't have the breakdown of. the
Like there's no
premises.
services or anything, it's a shed.
Yeah, we do have the storage area, and from my understanding, speaking with the tenant on the main floor, was that there was an area to the back, to the rear of the building that was for storage, that was not for their usage, is that correct?
Not for him, no.
Not for him, yeah, and that's what he was saying.
Well, in actual fact, he does, the truth be known, he keeps one little propane tank there,
Okay.
in there, because he's not allowed, I guess, for insurance, to leave it in the building. But the rest of it is basically my storage. Back when I ran electric, I used to keep some material in there, really, yeah. So that's about it, as far as the number of premises, that, I can't see
Yeah,
much else.
the two premises comes from, well, the three premises, I should say, comes from one, as you see on page 4, for the C2, that's the standard retail finish, and then we have a second premise for the storage area, so that's where you're getting two, and then we would also consider the residential unit as a third premise.
No, I understand that. So you're considering the shed as a second premise?
As a secondary building, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, and did you say C2?
Yeah, so it's what we call our tenant class for the property, but that basically constitutes a standard retail finish.
Yeah, because it is a C1. It
Oh,
is-
the zoning
Yeah.
is C1, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, the tenant class that we applied, they have different names. C2 is what we
Okay.
use for our standard retail finish.
Other than that, it looks,
Okay, thank you,
I
Mr.
should
Paul.
have probably grabbed this before, read it a little bit.
It's okay. Richard, any questions of the assessor?
I'm just looking at the comparables and the net rent versus your calculated rent. It looks like it's about 25% lower. Your rent is about 25% lower than the comparable rents. Am I getting that right? 949 versus 12
Are you talking the actual rents or the modeled rent that we've applied?
well, you applied the model rent of 949, did you not?
For the storage area, correct, yeah.
Oh, but not for the.
The main area has a rental rate of $13.63,
Okay.
yeah.
Answers my question, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Harvey, any questions?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
Okay. I guess regarding that, I'm looking on page 4, that storage, so that's not interior storage broken out for the dental lab, it's actually a building, an outside building.
Yeah, I can't really confirm without actually
There's no,
having seen the
there's,
space.
it's I built it myself, so I should know, but I think it's an 8 by 14 or something square foot building, it'd be close, and it's a shed, there's no services, there's no water, it's just sitting on a piece of concrete.
It's not
And
attached.
it's
to the building.
detached from the building by 4 feet or something.
I guess what, okay, if we look on page 1,
Yeah,
the leasable area is 1134,
correct.
and if we add, you're assessing 1050 for the office, let's call it section 1,
Yep,
and 84 for, so that comes to about
It totals it on page 4 at the bottom, 1134.
Yeah, 1134, so it doesn't seem like we're talking about a shed at all. It seems like we're talking about storage.
No, and without seeing our record, typically an outbuilding wouldn't have a premise associated with it.
So it's
So,
definitely no.
No, but,
yeah, but typically we wouldn't apply a rental rate
Oh,
to a
okay.
shed.
yeah. So I think that's an interior storage room that they've broken out from the dental lab?
Correct, and based on my inspection, again, I didn't see the back area that is tagged as storage, but I do know that there is a side entrance, correct, that goes up to
That's to the second floor,
secondary.
yes.
And underneath that staircase, there is
It's a
area
furnace
there.
room.
Yeah, so it may be a back room, something like that.
Yeah, it's gotta be, because it adds up to, Lisa Blair is 1134,
Correct, yeah.
and two areas for workup are 1134.
Correct.
So it's an interior, so I don't think they're assessing that shed at all.
Oh, okay, that could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've never just seen it broken
Yeah.
out quite like that before.
Yeah.
Like there's not, so they're saying 84 square feet, let's see.
yeah, is of less
Yeah,
value.
well, there's a hot water tank, a furnace, and an electrical panel, and the stairs going up, so it's like this, so you
Yeah.
gotta duck down to get, yeah. So that's maybe not an office. But I guess you could classify it, there would be somewhat besides the furnace. I would say more of a furnace utility room than
Yeah,
storage,
okay.
but yeah.
Okay, so that's what that's all about.
And that was 84, that does make your estimate a little bit high on the square footage, so if you're going 84 and 1134, because the building is less than 1,200 square foot
No,
total.
no, it's 1134 total.
Total.
Oh, 1134 is the total including the 84?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
That would make sense, yeah.
1050 plus the 84 for the 1134.
Gotcha, yeah.
Okay, and and you stated that the residential portion is owner occupied?
Correct.
Is that right, sir?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, okay. That's my only question. Okay, Mr. Paul, you've got a presentation sheet here. It looks like you've done some assessment comparisons, so, anyway, from my opening remarks, you understand, we don't, we won't, although, we're looking at fair and equitable, but anyway, we'll just leave it at that, and if you'd like to present your evidence on why you think the assessment is too high.
Yeah, the only, you know what, I don't know, I built the building, I don't know really what it's worth. To be honest with you, I guess you'd have to get a commercial person to estimate the worth on it. I guess it's worth what someone will pay you for it. But anyways, yeah, so I was just going on the increase. Now, my increases have been fairly regular, and I've done, I think it was 13% or something last time, and you know, I haven't been arguing with it, but I just looked at it, and it's an increase generally of 27%. So I went back and I compared the residentials in the area, which are running about 3 to 5%. And I compared all the commercial build, or not all of them, but 3 of them directly around me on both sides and across the street. And they're all running 9 to 12% increases, so I'm just, you know, said, well, why am I paying 26 or 27% more when everybody else is running anywhere between 5 and 12%? So that was my basic argument, and I see that I should have maybe done some more work.
Okay. Thank you. Mark, any questions of you, Paul?
No question.
Okay. Harvey, any questions?
Just a comment, you know, the fact of the matter is, the city has provided comparisons that show basically that your property seems to be assessed reasonably. Maybe you were under-assessed last time. It's just a comment, and it's caught up, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've been getting fairly regular increases, so, you know,
Is it a large
they're running
increase?
around 10-13%, so, and I've owned it since '88, so all I'm saying is, over the years, it's gone up. Now, I don't, if they made a mistake, they made it a long time ago.
Well, I see why you're here, I mean, you see an increase like that, and I guess, you
Yeah,
know.
well, you know what,
yeah.
hey, it's my only income, other than old age pension and Canada pension, so, and included in the rent there, like, I pay the taxes for the tenant also. He doesn't pay taxes, and I pay the water and stuff like that, so there, you know, there are costs involved, so when taxes go up, it hurts my pocket right away. It's not that the tenant is gonna pay it, so.
Nothing else, thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm
Richard,
done.
any questions?
No, I'm
Nope.
fine.
No?
Oh, you have any questions?
You good, Richard?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. What do you, the dental lab pays $17.20 a month?
That's correct.
And they pay for their own
They pay their own electrical
Okay,
and heat.
and heat, okay. And parking, I think there's some spots in the
A
back.
couple of, I actually squeezed 3 in, it's actually zoned as 2, I believe, 2 parking
So
spots.
you use one and then you have 2 for the lab?
Yeah,
That'd
well,
be fair, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, that's my only question. Any requirement for summary? No, sir, are you comfortable with what you said? I think we've got the
No,
picture
what
here.
else
so-
I can say.
Yeah, okay, that, leave it with us and you'll hear from us as soon as possible, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, and thank you for hearing me.
Thank you for appearing.
Good to see you.
That concludes 1032 St. Mary's Road.
I am done now, right?
Yes, bye-bye. Okay, now, we've got, I think, next property on the docket, 522 Talbot Avenue.
Yes,
Come forward, man.
yes. I have the option of swearing on the bathroom to affirm without it. Okay, please state your full name.
Is N, Red, no.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Do you have any evidence for the panel? Do you have any documents you want to share?
Yes.
Okay, I can take those.
Oh, no, I just talk about for the property tax, but I have in my phone some, a little bit, the building on the roof, they have the water get in, the basement flooring.
Okay, just one sec. She only has her property tax information and pictures on her phone. Do you want to see them or just present verbally?
So,
Maybe you can verbally tell us what the problems are physically with the property?
because my property before I just bought from 2015.
Okay, so we'll deal with all that right away. You have a seat now, okay?
Yes.
Please, okay, good morning.
Good
Ms.
morning.
Lou, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna let the assessor go first, and he's gonna describe the details of the building and his assessment on the property, and then you're gonna have an opportunity to present your evidence, okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, Mr. Colatrubio, we are dealing with 522 Talbot Avenue. We're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment. And when you're ready, please.
Thank you. Roll number here is 1409-1753000. It's 522 Talbot Avenue. This is another commercial mixed-use property with 2 classifications. The first class code is class code 60. The value under appeal is $198,000. The class code 10, which is the residential portioning, has an assessed value under appeal of $91,000 for a total of $289,000. This property is built in 1923, and there has been an effective age applied to this property. There is a retail component up front, and at the back of the retail node, there is a residential unit. And that's why you see a range in effective ages there that's applied to each of the components of that building. The total leasable area shown is, total gross floor area is 2,432 square feet, and the leasable area that we show for the commercial portioning is 1,001 square feet. This property last sold on the market in February of 2015 for $192,000. On page 3, you'll see some rent comparables for the retail component of the property. Page 4, you'll see a summary of the residential income stream for the apartment, the 2-bedroom unit to the rear of the retail unit. We've got a monthly rent of $737.44. The potential gross income is $8,849. We've applied a 2.6% vacancy rate and a 49.29% expense ratio for an NOI of $4,371. The overall cap rate applied is 4.80% for a capitalized rounded value at $91,000 for the residential component. On page 5, you'll see the income summary for the retail stream. It's also standard retail space, 1,001 square feet. The rental rate applied is $16.30. The vacancy here is 6% with 2% allowance given for non-recoverable expenses. The NOI is $14,640. The capitalization rate used on the retail portioning is 7.4% for a total rounded capitalized value at $198,000. Page 6, you'll see a summary of the income valuation for both components to amount to the total value under appeal at $289,000. Page 7, you'll see the subject property, a couple pictures. The aerial view that shows that the property is located on the corner of Talbot Avenue and Elmwood Road. And the picture at the bottom is the Google Street view of the front of the building. I do actually have a recommendation for this property, and that's something that I can circulate. The recommendation is based on a correction of some of the attributes that we found incorrect upon review of the mailer for the property. Yes, I do. I'm giving you my copy, but you need 5. So the primary changes within the recommendation is the rental rate was reduced on the retail portioning and the leasable area was corrected as per the mailer. When I was reviewing this property, the rental rate applied at $16 I found to be a little high for this type of space. The revised rent that we're using is $11.98. So we're looking at a potential rent on the retail portioning of $10,686. The vacancy loss is 6%, 2% non-recoverable expense allowance, and shortfall at $650 per square foot. The net operating income is $9,496, and the cap rate is 7.4, for a capitalized rounded value at $128,000 for the retail component. On the apartment side, there was no change to the valuation, so the recommendation shows exactly as was originally produced on the assessment roll, so $91,000. And that's it for my presentation.
Okay. Ms. Liu, do you understand that the assessor is making a recommendation to lower the assessment because he's adjusted the square footage of the commercial area and he's lowered the rental rate? So he's revising your assessment from $289,000 down to $219,000.
Yes.
So he's making an adjustment there of $80,000, I believe. Yeah, so he's 70,000, pardon me. So I'm not sure if you were aware of that recommendation, but would you be in agreement with that value?
Yes, it is for 219. Yes, I read that price because from 2015 we just bought
Yeah.
192.
Okay,
Because right now the building
yeah,
for on the top they leaking a lot. We
Oh.
have to fix later. But for the basement, the water they get in the
okay,
even just like raining.
okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, but the assessor is recommending, and there's a recommendation on the table for 219,000, but if you feel that's still too high,
No, that's okay for me. That price.
yeah, you
Yes.
you agree with that?
Yes, I read that price.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, because I can feel for the tax from when we got that building, 2,800 something, but right now they go almost 5,000 for the tax.
Yeah, well, this is gonna reduce it significantly for 2020. Yeah,
That's why almost 50 and 50% up
yeah,
for just only 4 years. For the
Okay.
property tax, I have for the some paper tax paper.
So-
Because to 2015, when I got from,
yeah.
2000.
Yeah, we understand there's been increases over the years, but this is gonna bring it down quite a bit.
Yes.
Okay,
please.
so if you're in agreement, leave it with us, okay?
Yes, I'm
And,
okay.
and you can leave now if you wish, okay?
Yes,
All
thank
right,
you for your helping.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy. Thank you for your, every people helping.
okay,
Yeah,
thank you, thanks
Appreciate
for appearing, okay, bye-bye,
bye-bye.
Have a good morning.
Thank you.
bye-bye. Yeah, is everybody okay? Yeah, do you have any questions?
Well, not at this point, if she's happy, but,
Yeah. Okay, okay, so that concludes 522 Talbot Avenue. Okay. Next property is 131 Harriet Street. Sir, come forward.
Please swear in on Bible or affirm without it. Please state your full name. And you swear the evidence you brought presented is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Thank you.
Morning, sir. We're dealing with 131 Harriet Street, and we're dealing with a 2020 realty appeal. When you are ready, Mr. Colatrullo.
So this is 131 Harriet Street, roll number 1306-124-9000. Another commercial mixed-use property with two class codes, the first being a residential class 10. The total value under appeal is $456,000. The residential portion of that is $179,000. The class code 60 valuation under appeal is $277,000. This property is, like I said, a commercial mixed use. It's got a retail store on the main floor and some residential units above. Property is originally built in 1890, so it's quite old. And there is a slight effective age applied to the property in 1928. Total leasable or total gross floor area is 6,336, and the leasable area that we have for the main floor is 1981. I do have a recommendation showing on the first page at the bottom, but I have since revised my recommendation, so I do have a further reduction.
Okay.
So I can distribute that as
Yes,
well.
please.
Part of the revision of the position was, I was able to do, I wasn't able to see the inside, but I was able to see the exterior of the property. And I was able to kind of look in through the door and get an idea of what the space was like on the main floor. So the recommendation that I'm making is based on a change to the class code 60. The class code 10 remains unchanged at 179,000, but the class code 60 is being reduced from 277 down to 180,000. If you can flip to page 2, you can see that there is a post-reference sale here on the property. Sold November 1st of 2018 for $350,000. And it's my understanding that the purchase at this price did also include 2 additional lots. So they purchased the subject property on the corner of Harriet and Alexander, I believe.
129.
Yeah, and it's
Harriet.
129 Harriet. If you look on page 7, there's an aerial view of the subject property. The parking lot to the left of the corner building there, 131 Harriet, is included in this purchase price, as well as the residential lot in behind at 129 Harriet. So included in the purchase price of $350, and that's the sale that the applicant has included evidence for.
Okay.
On page 3, you'll see that there is some rental comparables for convenience store type retail units within that market region of the city. The rental rates range from $11.50 upwards to $15.87. On page 4, you can see the workup for the apartment stream, which again is unchanged in my recommendation. We have 4 units total. The monthly rent applied is $509.20. The potential gross income there is $24,442. We've applied 3% vacancy and a 54.03% expense ratio to get a net operating income of $10,899. The cap rate used is 6.1%, and the total rounded capitalized value for the residential portioning is $179,000. If you look at the retail, page 1 of 2 on the sheet that I've handed out for the recommendation, you can see that the retail portioning, we have 1,981 square feet at $10.53 a square foot. The potential rent there is $20,860. We've applied 6% vacancy rate and 2% non-recoverable allowance. The net operating income there is $18,443, and the cap rate that we've used is 10.25%. And that was part of the recommendation based on the age of the property and the size, overall size. We did revise the cap rate. I believe the original rate, if you look on page 5 of my original brief, was 9.25, so a full point upwards on the cap rate. And that's all for my presentation.
Okay. Sir, there's a recommendation on the property, but I'm gonna ask the panel members if they have any questions right now.
I don't have.
Richard, take your time.
You were in the building?
I did not enter the building, no.
Oh, so you haven't seen the condition inside the building?
I was able to look kind of through the door to get an idea, through the glass door, but no, it's not the same as going inside and actually
And
see.
that would just give you the retail view, it wouldn't give you the...
Correct, I was not able to see any of the residential apartments yet.
Okay, no, I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. Mark, you made reference to the 2 vacant lots, that parking lot at the side and the rear. Are they on the same roll number?
No, they all have individual roll numbers, but I
Okay.
believe that one of, and maybe the applicant can provide more information, but there was some of those properties that were on the same title, I believe.
They have a separate title, but they are kind of inclusive. Somehow the lawyers has to separate them,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be sold separately.
Okay. And your purchase price included those 2 lots?
Yeah, so the one lot, it has a value of 84,000. The other one has 55,000
Assessment value?
assessment value.
Okay, yeah, okay. Did you file appeals on those lots?
I thought that was like, because it was like bundled, like it's not separate, so that's what I was thinking, but I was, in my impression was like the residential lot was okay, but the commercial lot is a small lot. It's not like it's a 30-something by 60.
Is that the one at the rear or the side?
No, the one beside the grocery store.
Okay, yeah,
So,
facing William Avenue.
Yes,
Okay.
that's extremely, I think
Ah,
that's
yeah.
high on that one,
Yeah,
2,000 something, but then there's nobody to rent that parking space and stuff.
yeah, okay. Okay, well, okay, so that's my only question. So the assessors, I'm not sure if you were aware of it, but he's made that recommendation to revise your assessment to $359,000. And I guess my question is, are you in agreement with that his recommendation?
The thing is, if you consider that, 80,000, I tried to sell the lot, but it didn't, I didn't get any offer.
Yeah.
The realtor is there, but then, even if I put like 50,000, the lot, then with what I purchased it, it's about 250,000, but then maybe I could argue for 300,000. We'll see there.
Yeah, okay, so,
I don't have the tenants this time. The tenant was like, they were paying 450 and then including everything.
yeah,
So I'm trying to separate that utilities.
the lot
So I
value.
did
Yeah,
renovation.
okay. Well, so what I'm hearing from you is I don't think you agree with the $359,000. for the commercial portion only?
Yeah, it's just for 1 year, the claim.
Yeah.
So it could be revised after renovation is done and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if I would have a tax break, I would like it for this year, that the building is empty and stuff, but that's what my theory is.
Yeah, but we're dealing with a 2020 appeal here,
Yeah,
so,
so
yeah.
we
You know what,
should-
I think we're gonna take the assessor's evidence, or pardon me, presentation or recommendation at 3:59, but I think we're gonna proceed forward and you can explain to us, present why you think that that value is still too high, okay?
Yeah.
Do you have anything to hand out, did you?
My handout.
Yeah, okay.
I just purchased the building, and when I purchased it, it was on the market for pretty much like 8 months. And it was, so my market, like my thing was fair, but then the thing is, also there is a foundation issue with the building. That's why it was sitting there for such a long time on the market. And with the fact that they were running the store themselves, and it was traditionally like, it was a Portuguese fish market they were bringing from Europe or something, and then they were okay, like, but this time that I tried to rent it and I couldn't get a tenant for some time because the condition is like, it had to be upgraded a lot.
This is the commercial portion?
Yeah, the commercial
Okay.
portion, and the residential portion, the rent is too low for 450. That they have to open the windows and stuff, that I have to pay the heat and electric and stuff, so that was, didn't work for me, so I took them out so that I could upgrade the,
Oh, okay.
so it's been empty and we just renovating the place.
Okay,
And the basement is wet, kind of like, there were the foundation repairs done, but still the floor is not level on the main floor. So I didn't get a chance to show, but I could be able to show him and
Yeah, perhaps you should
just
phone-
pretty much both purchasing this.
phone the department and they'll come out and inspect it for you.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we've got this value of $359,000. I think we've determined that the lots, even though they were purchased in that sale in 2000, is it post-reference?
It is a post-reference sale.
Yeah, November 2018, but it did include
The 2 lots. yeah.
2 lots, and they're separate assessments, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we're only dealing with the building itself and the land that it's sitting on. So what I'm gonna ask you is, what do you think the assessment should be, in your opinion, for this building and the land?
For-
Ignoring those other 2 lots, okay?
Yeah, it should be like 320, pretty much like 300,
300?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're assigning, you purchased it for 350, even though it is post-reference, by,
The 350 includes the 2 lot,
Yeah.
which is the minimum, they are 100,000. But like, the city assessment for those 2 lots is 85 and 55.
okay,
So that's about 130,000.
yeah,
If you
Yeah.
reduce with my price, 350,000.
140,000, yeah. Yeah, okay. So how much value are you assigning to the lots if you were to try and sell? You said you tried to sell one?
I put it like, because it's 85,000, then I put it 89, and then the other one 79. It didn't sell anybody, I didn't get any offer. The
Okay.
renter is there, you could call budget. Pretty much the value for the lot would be 55.
Yeah, so one at 60,000 commercial, one at 55 or 60, maybe 60.
Yeah,
Would that be fair?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So one residential, 60. Now, is this lot on the side that faces William, is that parking for the commercial?
Yeah.
So you might not sell it, right? But anyway,
No,
yeah.
no, yeah, they are not separate, like, it's not there is something that the lawyers has to do to make it separate. They're not totally separate, just been the owner been on the property for about at least 35,000. No, I mean 35 years.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
running
okay.
it.
Okay. So just to clarify, you paid $350,000, even though it's post-reference. You're assigning a value of about $120,000 for the two lots, $60,000 each.
The residential is 55,000, which I agree, but the commercial, the lot is small. It's not like, it doesn't run like 100 or something, it's like 60.
Oh, okay.
So you can't build anything on there.
Oh, I see, okay, yeah. Okay, so you're asking us to reduce the assessment. Right now, we're sitting recommendation at 359,000. And you're asking us to reduce it to, what did you say?
320, 300.
300, okay. Okay. Okay.
But I'm doing the upgrade, so
Yeah.
by next year it could be adjusted, like it's gonna be adjusted higher after. But this time I don't have, I put like windows about 12,000, and then electrical upgrade, doing about 15,000.
Okay, so there's renovations that are ongoing,
Yeah.
and hopefully you'll have it leased out and the apartments leased out by next year.
I'm hoping by November, December, I will be renting it,
Okay.
the upstairs residential.
Okay. Mark, any questions?
No question, just, we did try to inspect the property, just the scheduling didn't line up prior to the
Yeah.
hearing. And when you purchased, you considered the lots to be about 50,000 each, right? That was my only.
Richard, any questions?
I just want to clarify. So none of the apartments are occupied?
I have only one tenant there.
One tenant
Yeah.
in a one-bedroom, three-bedroom,
In
two-bedroom,
in a one bedroom,
one bedroom, and nothing in the retail?
nothing in the retail,
Okay,
because they moved out. They were the owners, and then they retired.
right. And the basement, you're saying, has some problems as well?
Yeah, the basement, it's not like a high basement, it's just like you have to land on there, and then the floor is kind of wet all the time. 'cause that
It's
when
not
it was-
rentable?
It's not rentable.
No. And are you doing the repairs yourself?
No, I hire people, like Achievers Windows, they did the windows.
So you're
For
you're
the upstairs,
contractors?
yeah.
Okay,
So the main floor, I still have to do it for the window part, and then the store, I'm trying to find a tenant. But when the tenant, the possible tenant will have to do some work.
and so am I right in thinking, you said you spent about 35,000 so far?
I spent about 15,000 for the windows, that I still have to do the main floor. And then the electrical is about 15,000. Yeah, but he's still doing it.
Okay, no more questions.
Thank you. Harvey?
Okay, so you have two assessment rolls besides these ones on the two lots that you bought?
Yeah.
And how much you said they were assessed at?
The one is 86,000,
Right,
the parking space,
okay.
because it's a commercial.
Yeah, and the other?
But the other one is residential, they assess it 55,000.
55. And have you filed applications to reduce those?
No, I didn't file because I was thinking when I purchased it, it was bundled. Still, there is some kind of connection on the street. They are not like fully.
I understand, but but it seems that they might be assessed too high, and if we were determined that the building here seems to be worn out, maybe the lots are where the problem is. You can make application on those.
Yeah, but like I didn't know that it was passive.
Yeah. Okay. And one is used as a parking lot. Is there any income from that parking lot?
No, I didn't have any. Like it was just for the grocery store.
So you don't have any other people renting spots or anything like that?
Yeah,
And the residential lot, you said it was too small to build anything on?
it did 26, it's actually deep, but, yeah, just, I was trying to sell 79, but then I didn't get, like, it was negotiating price, but nobody offered me anything. It's still on the market.
Okay, so it is a building site then? A residential building site, that is smaller lot?
The residential lot, probably there was a house long time ago
Okay.
there, but then it was demolished, and then they were just using it for parking.
Oh, she's using that for parking now, that's the residential lot is used for parking.
Yeah, they were.
And so the other lot we're talking about is a separate lot.
No, there was the parking at the side.
Inside, the
and
one in
then
the back.
There was a parking at the residential lot, they are using it as the parking. They were using it,
Okay.
the Portuguese fish
So,
market, yeah.
so probably, if you're gonna rent out the space, you're gonna need parking, so you'll probably keep that as a parking lot for that.
I would keep the parking at the back,
Yeah.
but the
Okay, parking at the back only.
residential, on the side.
Right.
The side is, to the current code is, it's not, it's very much hard to sell it separately,
Okay.
because it's like 60 deep, so it's not a deep lot. But the residential lot, I think it's possible to be, build something on there.
Okay, thank you, then. Have any other questions?
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks, Harvey. So, the owner is Urtra Housing.
Yeah.
Now, is this nonprofit or is it for-profit?
I just myself.
Do yourself, okay, okay. And, so the lot at the back running off of Harriet Street, that was a residential building, somebody demolished it, and the Portuguese fish market, the previous owner, was using that for parking for maybe staff, or it had something relationship with the building that you now own, okay? And how far, now Harriet Street, how far are you from Health Sciences Center?
Oh, Harriet is from Isabel, left towards Main Street.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's very far from.
Okay, so you're on the east side of Isabel.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, by the school kind of, or, yeah, okay. So you're a ways away, yeah. Okay.
If it was the other side, then you could get a parking space.
Yeah, 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 okay. Okay. Mark, any requirement for summary, or?
The only thing that I would add is just a further comment to the basement area. So part of the original recommendation was to remove the basement premise that we originally had on file, because I did speak with the owner, and it was determined that it's not a leasable area in the
Yeah.
basement. So we've removed that going forward, so there is no basement premise at all,
Okay.
just to clarify.
Okay,
And then there is no window to the basement.
yeah,
So
okay.
it was built low.
And that upstairs, the four dwelling unit, is it four suites?
Yeah.
Or four bachelor suites, are they?
No, one bachelor and then one bedroom.
And they've got their own washrooms, all
Yeah,
okay.
self-contained.
And what kind of rent would you expect to get?
Well, I don't know like how much, like there, I hope it's not registered probably, but, the bachelor suite is a little bit sinking, for some reason, that I could be able to show you anytime, but it's not floor level.
Oh, okay.
But the others are okay.
Okay. All right, I think we've got a clear picture of what's going on here, and leave it with us, okay? And you'll hear from us as soon as possible, okay, sir?
Yeah, sure, okay, thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, have a nice day.
Thank you. Yeah.
So that concludes 131 Harriet Street. And I think that concludes our docket, doesn't it, Mark? Yeah,
Correct.
we're done, okay. All right, so that concludes our hearing.
So, yeah.